Hello and happy Sunday. It is May 10th, 2020. My name is Jim Piela. I'm a New York City-based saxophonist, composer, and educator, and I am here to answer some of the questions that I got over the internet this week. Let's get started. First question comes from Dan_Edgecombe. Any tips for improving time feel and rhythmic accuracy? Have you ever used Conical? So first of all, no, I haven't, but I do have a favorite album that it's used to great effect on. Charles Lloyd's Sanagram with Zakar Hussain, the famous tabla drum player. It's very cool, and they use it. They use Conical in more of a jazz setting, and it's very cool. So, couple of things. First of all, if you're working on rhythmic accuracy over jazz standards and trying to get your eighth note lines to really work and run together, what I would recommend is coming up with some 1-bar or 2-bar or 4-bar rhythms that are really specific, and use those in your improvisation. So you're improvising the notes, but trying to keep the rhythms the same every time. This will allow you to use those rhythms in other parts of your language in a more smooth and comfortable way. If you're looking for a kind of a more complete answer, what I would recommend is something that I like to try to do every day, which I call big met or big metronome, and basically slowing the metronome down to 25 or 30 and trying to play 1 note per click, 2 notes per click, 3 notes per click, all the way up to 16, using scales or other diatonic exercises, usually trying to really make that clean and really sound great. I want to bring up this book that a friend of mine, Elsa Nielsen, gave to me at Gen over this last winter. It's a really, really nice understanding of how these things work. And she explains it in a way that's very clear. The one thing that she uses a lot in here is the idea of burying the beat when you're trying to do a big metronome exercise like that. It's very cool and very helpful. Check it out. Okay, next question from Mitchell Stewart 56. How you get luscious beard? Practice. No. Maintenance. I comb it out and brush it out every day. I have a really great product from Lush, #not sponsored. That's like a shower thing that keeps it soft and leaves a little bit of chaos in there, but it's still manageable. Yeah, thanks for the question. So the next question comes from Fatty-Besharia. Sorry if I'm butchering that. What's your Altissimo practice routine? You sound sick up there, dude. Thank you. So this is actually something that I get a lot of questions about. Would you guys like to see a full video about my approach on Altissimo? I feel like there's some misconceptions out there and some incorrect practice habits that some people have that I might be able to help clear up. If you'd like to see that, comment below or like the video or do the YouTube things. So let's get into it. A couple of things to keep in mind. Thing number one is we're basically turning the saxophone into a brass instrument. That can be helpful in the way that you approach and think about it. The other part of it is I like to think about it as range extension. And that seems obvious, right? We're extending the range up. It also involves extending the range down. And that has to go into how I practice this, which is overtones. Making sure as you play your overtones, and I'm going to play them in a second, as you play your overtones, making sure that first fundamental note is crystal clear. And the second fundamental note is crystal clear. A lot of people try to skip over that and try to move into the higher notes because that's the goal, right? The goal is to play super high. Well, if those first 2 notes don't sound very good, the rest of it's not going to sound very good. The best way that I've found to think about Altissimo for myself, and again, there's lots of different ways to do it, but the way that I think about it is a firm embouchure, soft lower lip, and then I'm changing the shape of my mouth using my tongue. All right, this is going to sound silly, but I think about my tongue as a water slide. All right, it arches in the back, and every water slide needs a little jump at the end, right? So I feel, again, I can't see the inside of my mouth, so I don't actually know what's going on, but if it has a sensation of pulling the tongue back and then having a little bit of a jump, I guess, if you will, at the end of the tongue, okay? So let me grab my horn. I'm going to play some overtones, and as I do this, I will stop when I start to feel a pinch in my lower lip, okay? Okay, here we go. So now I can feel a little bit of tension on my lower lip, but is far from biting. That I feel a little bit more, but it's mostly in my corners. And that's the first one I actually feel a little bit of tension, more so than I would like in my lip. I'm up on, that's a high B flat above the range of the instrument. So that needs to be the starting point, is really solid overtone creation. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more exercises to work on. One is a pitch bending exercise, kind of what I was talking about with thinking about yourself as a brass player. So take your high F, fork F, try to find each one of those notes as you go. I'm playing it kind of fast right now. I would recommend super slow and really controlled all the way through that. That's something that I like to do on F, F sharp, and G, the first note into the Altissimo. So if that is starting to happen for you, if that feels like it's working out, my next recommendation is to take things that you feel confident already on and play them up an octave. I know I did some Charlie Parker solos like this, some bird solos, and I found it to be incredibly helpful to play stuff that I already knew what it sounded like, just up an octave. Okay, you can also do scales and whatnot up there, trying to keep everything comfortable and easy. There's a couple of diatonic exercises that I like to do up there as well. But again, if you're looking to create a really beautiful, rich tone, this is where you have to start. This takes a long time. It takes a long time to get this to work exactly how you want. But if you focus on your embouchure and not letting the lower lip bite, okay? Because anyone can bite their reed and sound like they're playing some random, super high note. The point of Altissimo is to make it sound like you belong up there, basically, and make it sound like you as you play very high into your register. So I hope that helps. Like I say, if that's something you'd like to see more of, please comment below and I might make that video. Okay, last question for this week comes from T-Dog_the Dank Engine. What are your favorite exercises for improving finger agility and accuracy? Great question. Remember that speed comes from accuracy, and accuracy comes from playing slowly. The only thing that's changing when you play slowly versus playing quickly is how long you're holding the note, right? So the finger motion is exactly the same. So I haven't run the experiment. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but it is a really great thing to think about as you work on your very slow exercises. When you move from note to note, don't let those fingers be slow, right? So it's a fast, accurate motion that you can practice between very slow notes, if that makes sense. As you play that long tone, make sure all of your fingers are in perfect position and you're not using any more tension than you absolutely need to. That's helped me immensely as I work on this stuff. So thank you for all the questions this week. I really appreciate it. If I didn't get to yours, I'm really sorry. If you like what you see here, consider subscribing, consider liking the video. I'm trying to grow this page. Obviously, it's pretty small at the moment, but I would really appreciate your support. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Have a great one, and we'll talk soon.